Hello, Reformers, and welcome back to Prophecy of Pendor. Now, when we left off, we had just taken out a couple of Dashar vassals, thankfully enough, and we had organized our inventory somewhat. Obviously, we'll be leaving it as it was just for now, and then we'll be dealing with it a little bit later on, because, let's face it, inventory management, is it that important? Well, probably is if you're some sort of merchant or trader, but right now we're not particularly doing anything along those lines. We are just waging war against the Dashar and fulfilling our mercenary duties. Now, some of you have wanted to know what our difficulty settings are, so there they are right there. You can pause the video and take a look at them if you so desire. And we are now going to be chasing after this particular Dashar vassal. Thank you very much. We will hopefully be able to avoid those guys. Actually, wait a minute. They seem to be neutral towards us, but they apparently are affiliated with the Dashar for whatever reason. Well, let us now see. This guy is heading on to Shaquilla, so we definitely want to intercept him as best we can. He actually does have 15 prisoners that we could very much use, and oh yes, the farmers have joined on his side. Well, that's rather unfortunate, isn't it? But we are going to have to deal with it nevertheless, and I think we should be fine. Even though these guys actually do have now 48 units, we have 68, it should be okay. Even though, well, Bertil the Lesser is a little bit injured, as you can see from our previous encounter, so let us try our very best to be in good spirits here, and then we'll be heading on to one of our Feardsvain allies' towns and seeing what we can do there. We definitely want to be able to sell a little bit. Okay, so these guys aren't going to be too difficult, so we can probably make our way over here. Ah, here we go. Okay, well, I'm gonna say, oh yes, they're not gonna be too difficult, and then as soon as I pop my head up, you know what's gonna happen. Yes, they are going to headshot me very, very quickly indeed. So let's see what we can do here. Oh yes, as you can see, yes, some very powerful archers by the looks of things, seeming to damage our horse pretty badly, I gotta say. Wow, that's somewhat impressive, I have to say. Well, whatever the case, we are going to be defeating them, hopefully very, very quickly indeed. Let's try and get all of our units up here. My horse is probably going to die before we even get there. I'm thinking I'm actually going to dismount right away, because if we don't, look at this. Oh my. I'm very sorry, horsey. Well, that is just how it goes sometimes, unfortunately enough, but yes, well, let us see what we can do. And it appears as though they are just going to be charging straight on in there. We definitely need to get our infantry in the front here as well, just to protect our, wow, yes, protect our archers as best we can. Now, let's see here. Yes, we don't have the farmers, right? No, we don't have the farmers, of course not. So let us see what we can do on foot here. It's been a while since we've actually fought anything on foot, and yes, my first attack is a complete failure, because that's just how it goes, isn't it? Okay, well, let's just see what we can do here. I think we can probably charge our infantry in now. Nothing really is happening to our archers. They are just being focused a little bit less now. And in actual fact, our cavalry seems to be focused instead. Well, of course they would be. They are charging in somewhat viciously and ruthlessly against our opponents here. So, yes, let's just see what we can do. Hopefully we'll be able to take this guy prisoner. It would be wonderful if we could. And there we have it. Donovan has advanced to level 16. Exactly what we like to see right there. Now let's see if we can deal some damage to this guy. Unfortunately, 11 damage is not going to cut it. Bertil the Lesser. Ah, well, yes. That is also not going to cut it, because we have a mace. And a mace is, well, very good for bashing things, but yes, not much more. And, well, my bashing things in that particular battle was rather pitiful, I have to say. Okay, well, there it is. We did take out 48 of their units, and 4 of them were wounded. And wow, we are actually able to take this guy prisoner. I am going to be doing that. We want to take as many of these guys prisoner as possible. And now we lost 2 units, so I'm going to take this adventurer, that is for sure, and I'll take the heretic worshipper, I suppose. Yes, I don't actually know whether they're any good. I have to really take a look at their stats after this, because I could get some Fierdsvain light infantry, but as you see, they are very lightly armored and have no horse, in comparison to a heretic worshipper that has at least chainmail on and has a very good armored horse. So I suppose we'll just head on there, that will be fine. Let's take a look at this. Okay, we do actually have a couple of really good things here. Maybe this step horse could be used by one of our companions. So let's let our heroes choose that. Yes, Donovan is going to be using this step horse. And Anson has now equipped a male Horbuck on as well. And the Deshar studded leather coat Julia has taken. So that is fantastic. We will be taking the male shirt and the sway-backed Corsair because, well, we gave Donovan that. Obviously, he's... well, just changing around things a little bit there. And yeah, I think that will be it. Nothing else really here. And we'll now head on. Yes, now this is where I am going to be a little disappointed, because I would love to be able to obviously loot one of these nearby villages. And in actual fact, I think we could probably pull off looting this village right here, but unfortunately, due to us being at 32% HP and many of our units... well, not many, but some of our units are still unconscious, I think it probably wouldn't be the best idea. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to head on to Windholm, because that is the closest town, friendly town, shall we say, to us. And we are going to be taking a look at the marketplace there. I'm going to want to sell a lot of gear. And we are now being attacked by... some bandits. Well, that's wonderful, isn't it? Where are they going to be heading from? Oh, over there. Of course they are. Okay, so I'm going to be a little bit careful here. I am injured, after all, so I am going to stand here, I think. Yes, we're going to stand here, and we're going to see if there are any coming around the corner. It appears not. It appears as though there's just one archer. Oh, no, never mind. There's actually a couple of archers. One of them is a crossbowman. Hopefully he does... not have any crossbows that have bonuses to shields. And I think we're actually going to be relatively okay now, seeing as we are in this position instead of before where we were not in a very good one. Yes, there we go. Okay, come on, let's do this, guys. Yes, we've already taken one of them down and yet another one. Fantastic. And now, let's see, can we do this without my shield breaking? Maybe I can, maybe I can't. Yeah, it appears as though it is working. Wonderful. Okay, well, there it is. We were, in my opinion, very close to being taken out by those brigands, and that is exactly the reason why, maybe a Morning Star is not the greatest idea, but it is a slow one-handed weapon in comparison to a reasonably fast two-handed weapon. So, yes, I suppose there is always a foundation for using it two-handed. Maybe I should have done that, but they did have a lot of crossbows, and it would have been pretty bad to get taken out by those guys. So let's see here. Well, we're going to be selling most of this stuff right now. There we have it. Very nice indeed. And yes, we do need to find a use for that Qualis gem, but right now I feel as though we do need to just get our army a little bit higher up on the scale of power, and then after that we will of course be doing a lot with it. Yes, obviously, yeah, this is the thing, you see. Now, I seem to remember from the original Prophecy of Pendor that you needed 2 Qualis gems to be able to make a rune weapon, or to imbue a current weapon with, well, some sort of rune property. So, yes, that's the only unfortunate thing, because we only have 1. It's going to be impossible to actually make the strange rune bow into anything, if I am correct about that, because I have a feeling what we needed to do, in the original at least, was to find a merchant, pay him 1 Qualis gem, which at the time was incredibly expensive, and then pay another Qualis gem to the person within the mines, I believe, and then that person would imbue your weapon with some kind of strange rune property, which would be, well, very much welcomed, of course, but as a result, 2 Qualis gems very, very quickly gone, and also to add to that, maybe getting something other than a strange rune bow would be a good idea. For example, one of the rune weapon swords, because I have a feeling Sapphire would probably be a good idea. Sapphire, maybe, I actually have forgotten the others, but Oh, yes, Ruby? Yes, Ruby as well. But Ruby has the most damage, Sapphire has the most attack speed, I think. And I'm not entirely sure about, is it Emerald or maybe something along those lines? Not too sure right now. It's been a long time after all, but I think one of those would probably be a little bit better, because even though we have a piercing weapon, I feel as though a sword would probably, specifically a very fast sword, would probably be a very nice thing to do. So let's see here. We have some Barclay Sappers. They're actually pretty good units, I've got to say. And aha. Oh, okay. So let's see. Well, unfortunately, we are unable to... Ooh. Oh no, never mind. I thought that might be revealing the location of the Red Brotherhood base. And if you guys remember from the original, if you've seen that, my series at least, but if you've seen that, then you'll know that Red Brotherhood, the Red Brotherhood hideout, actually does have one Qualis gem up for grabs. And it would be wonderful if we could try and find that, but we do need to speak to people about rumors and so forth, so unfortunately we will not be able to find that right now anyway. So yes, everything is doing quite well, and yes, I do realize now that selling iron here was a bad idea before, because that caused our ironworks to actually lose money. So that was a bad idea, wasn't it? But whatever the case, we are now going to be increasing Donovan's intelligence. He is going to be becoming a very, very smart fellow indeed. And what are we going to be getting him? Well, that's the thing. I have no clue. What are we going to be getting him? Well, not pathfinding. I feel like that's a little bit pointless. Maybe a little bit more in Iron Flesh, and maybe something in... maybe athletics. I don't know, to be honest, because he has a huge shield, a very good shield. And maybe we should just get him another point in shield. He's using a Noldor shield after all, so maybe just improving his ability to use that would be pretty impressive. Obviously, we cannot improve anything else like tactics or trainer just yet, because intelligence isn't 21, so we're going to need to wait and see about that. Does anything else need leveling up? No, it appears not. So let's just see here for a second. We can actually speak to these guys and ask them to ransom themselves, but are we going to be getting the same amount of money? That is the problem here. Ah, okay, so he's going to offer us 4,800 dinars. Maybe it would be a good idea, because every single second these guys are in our prisoner's hold, they have a chance to escape. But maybe his faction will be giving us a lot more in the way of cash, so it would be really unfortunate if... oh no, I think this might actually be worth it. But it would be really unfortunate if he was to escape and then for us to get nothing, or for his faction to offer us 9,000, for example, almost double. And that would be very, very good too. So, I think we're actually going to be accepting that, at least for now. And what about this fellow? Wow, 6,400. Okay, well, we'll just take that as well. And what about this guy? 4,100. I think I'm actually going to wait and see what that guy is going to fetch. Maybe he won't fetch as much as the others, but 4,100, I think we're doing okay on money right now, as you can plainly see. Our dinars have just skyrocketed right up there. And yes, I think we are now going to be making a little bit of space in our inventory, because what we want to do, of course, is loot something in very, very close proximity to us right now, and I think it would be fantastic if we would have a little more space right there. So let's see if we can now head on to Rafsanyan and see if we can take that village, or raid it at least. We do actually have a raiding party here, as well as some secular knights, Lady Valkyries. Don't really need to worry about those, thank goodness. But otherwise, we may be having some difficulties, because this fortress has just seen us. So, let us see what we can do while we raid this village here. And maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to gain some good loot from this. Unfortunately, if a vassal turns up, then I'm not entirely sure whether we'll be able to deal with him. It really depends on the size of that vassal's army. If we are... wow, we're actually just being completely left alone right now. Oh my goodness, that's adding a lot of insult to injury, isn't it? Look at that. Jandros Khan was the fellow that we actually looted here, and he is currently in our prisoner's hold. So yes, there is that to consider as well, of course. Okay, so let us take absolutely everything we can right here. We're going to be taking a lot of the goods instead of the food right now, and I think that will be fine. Yes, wow, that is exactly the amount that we desired right there. And we're now going to be employing a method that I really am not a huge fan of, I have to say, because, well, in wartime, would we really have the opportunity to... Oh my, that's not good. Would we really have the opportunity to take some cattle and actually... Oh wow. Well, we do definitely now have the time, because the Fyrdsvein are all standing here at High Pass Fortress, but just imagine if we had a vassal after us right now. That would be pretty bad, wouldn't it? So, leaving the cattle behind is usually a good idea, but obviously, well, how much are we going to gain? Well, let's just take a look. How much are we going to gain from the meat that we are going to be, obviously, acquiring in just a very short amount of time here as well? How much are we going to be getting? Well, let's just see. I'm a little bit worried about the camera right now. Well, let's see it hopefully fix itself in just a second, but okay. So, let's see here. We are not going to be selling iron to this place, but we are going to be selling pottery and absolutely everything else. And we're going to be seeing how much money we make. Obviously, this is not in question, but the money that we gain from the meat, obviously that is in question. So, let us just see what we can do here. Wow, this guy has a huge amount of money. I am very appreciative of that. We are going to be taking most of it. Now, let's see here. Yes, yes, okay, that is fantastic, just right. Ooh, only 1,500 for the horse merchant. Ah, that's a little bit better. Maybe we could actually check to see whether those throwing weapons are here. Well, we do have some heavy throwing spears, but obviously we already own some of those. And what else do we have here? Not much, I have to say. Not much that I can really say that I would absolutely love to have, to be honest. So, ooh, that would be fantastic, but it is, well, shall we say, a little bit small in the areas that you would otherwise want it to be larger, but whatever the case, let's sell these things here. The spice as well. 2,160, fantastic. Okay, so there we go. We now have that, and we will now be seeing what we can do by slaughtering them. Let us slaughter 5. Thank you very much. Let us take all of that. How much more space do we have? Quite a lot. Okay, so yes, these guys are going to take a long time to actually get going, but we're going to see how much we can make. So I'm hopefully going to be able to, yes, do another 5, but unfortunately the fresh beef does tend to be a little bit more than just the 5, so... Let's just see here. We have 2,000 dinars at this current good merchant, and we're going to see what we can sell this for. So, as we can see, it's actually not selling for that much, unfortunately. And this is primarily the reason why I would usually ignore this method of making money, because even though it may be very, very good, in actual fact, when you are playing early on in the game, but right now, as you can see, the price has gone skyrocketing down because we have sold so much to this particular goods merchant. Will it actually change if we sell it to this guy instead? Well, somewhat, but not really. As you can see, we are not really getting any benefit from it any further, and so as a result, we're going to need to lug these cattle all the way over to the next town, which, I gotta say, it is not worth it, in my opinion. It is completely not worth it. But what I have to say is that these Red Brotherhood Windholm units will definitely need to be eliminated. So we are going to be telling these cattle to bring the herd to a stop, thank you, and we're going to be now heading onward to that particular band, and hopefully rescuing those Knights of the Dawn. Hopefully we are faster than them. We are so slow in comparison to these guys. I am really sad right now, because those Knights of the Dawn would definitely cause us to be... Ooh, oh my! This guy actually has 107 prisoners. I cannot believe that, in actual fact. Just imagine, if we had not seen those guys, we would never have run into this. So maybe it was all fate. Oh well, let us take a look, shall we? Okay, so these guys, yeah, they are running from me, thank you very much. We definitely don't want to deal with those, although they do have 52. They actually do have 52 prisoners, so I guess if we lose a huge amount of units here, we won't have any problems reimbursing them because, well, look at it. 107 units, and 2 of them are Fyrdsvain vassals, so we are going to be gaining a good amount of relation with each of them as well. So, let's see what we can do there. Let's see if we can take these guys on. Okay, so there's a Salian vassal. We need to be careful of them now, because obviously they are declaring war against us. Well, not technically against us, but against the Fyrdsvain once again. So, let's see what we can do against this guy, shall we? 76 versus 56. I think we should be okay, considering we are now a little bit restored in our vitality. And let's see whether we're able to get a good formation going on here as well, because obviously we do have 15 archers. I'd like to make good use of them. I'm going to bring out my lance as well. I think it would be a good idea to see if we can use it to, well, decent effect, I'd say. And I continually forget that some of our cavalry, as you can tell here, yes, Anson and Donovan and indeed Julia are all marked as infantry still, so that is actually really quite sad because it would be fantastic to get them rolling with the cavalry. So let's get our infantry out the front there. And let's see what our crossbowmen are able to do. Unfortunately, they are not the greatest at range, but they do seem to be doing some decent damage to our opponent right now. So I think we should be fine for the most part. So let us charge in our cavalry. Unfortunately, it appears as though we are now also being charged in by the opponent. Oh no, this is bad. Okay, maybe not so bad. It appears as though we are going to be surviving somewhat. So let's just see here. Okay, these archers do need to be moved back a little bit here. Now let's see. Are we able to get some good... Okay, we're definitely able to get some good damage, but unfortunately we are now taking a severe amount of damage as a result of our amazing level up. And we're going to see what we can do now. Obviously we have the infantry just chasing after many, many mounted units. But I think that is better than them standing there and getting pelted by the enemy's archers, so probably a good idea. Unfortunately, one-on-one combat is not exactly my forte right now, considering the Morningstar is a very slow weapon to swing. So we're going to need to be a little bit careful about that. We're going to need to be careful about generally everything on the battlefield right now, apart from the enemy archers, who we are going to be approaching in just a quick second. So let's see here. Maybe if we're able to deal some damage, we might be able to level up once again. Oh yes, come on. Ah, no. It appears as though our Pendor armored bowman is definitely watching out for us. Oh yes, there we go. Nice damage right there. Well, not really nice damage, I have to say. We hit him on his helmet, and yet he still only took 28 damage. So I am definitely thinking of trying to find that Red Brotherhood hideout and see if we can find that next Qualis gem, and maybe as a result we will be able to get a proper rune weapon instead of a rune bow. It's probably a better idea to get something like a sword that we can actually use, because even though the rune bow is very, very good and absolutely incredible once it is enchanted with a Qualis gem, it's not going to be used by us. So that is indeed the main problem there. And unfortunately that fellow was able to escape, but thankfully enough we have now rescued a huge amount of Fyrdsvain vassals. There we go. It's actually quite funny that we are seeming to side with the Fyrdsvain for the most part, because that is exactly what Iceni did in the original Prophecy of Pendor series. So, well, without further ado, let's see what we can do here. We only have... Oh, that is terrible. Yeah, we only have 7 spaces. I was really hoping that we would lose more units there, but we are just going to have to deal with it, aren't we? Well, I think, if anything, what is going to go is a couple of worshippers and maybe some mercenary horsemen. The Salian halberdiers will definitely be going because morale is now going to be affected by them. And mercenary sergeants are quite good, I would say. They are maybe going to be costing us a huge amount, but let's just see what we're able to do now. So, Fyrdsvain Rogue Noble Knights. Can they be leveled up? They cannot, so that's a little worrying. But what else do we have here? We have some noble women that can, of course, become amazing Lady Valkyrie. Well, not Lady Valkyries. You do need to be a part of the well, knighthood for that, but they can become Valkyries. And we do have some Huskarls here as well, which are going to be fantastic units to add to our arsenal. So I think we're probably going to be releasing all of the heretic worshippers, unfortunately. I really love using them because, well, they just look cool in my opinion, and, well, I do like the heretic armies quite a bit. So, well, that's just a little unfortunate, isn't it? Yeah. Well, they're going to be killing us quite a lot later on, so I don't suppose we will be missing them for too long, but still. We only have 5 spaces. Well, I guess the only thing we can do right now is just take these Fyrdsvain armored axemen, and they will become something very, very nice indeed. So let's just see. Yeah, they're going to be, Huskarls. So that's pretty good in my opinion. Yeah, I think that's fine, and unfortunately that appears to be that. Because even though I would like to, oh no, we could potentially lose these Empire crossbowmen and trade them for some extra infantry. Maybe that would be an idea. Maybe. Maybe, but no. Probably not going to be doing that, are we? No, probably not. We only have 7 crossbowmen, and we do need to keep our ranged presence up. So that will be fine. And, ooh, a nice Dust Rider and a Dervish Raider there. That's fantastic. So, let's see here. What did we get? Well, we got a huge, oh wow, very nice horse right there. Anything else for us? Not really. So let's let our units choose what they want to do. Donovan's equipping a Courser, Anson is equipping the Steppe Horse, and Alyssa is equipping the Dashar Armored Hunter, which is fantastic actually. So I will just be taking the remaining pieces of loot, and then we'll be heading onward. There we go, and Anson has advanced to level 3 as well. So there we go, that was very, very profitable in my opinion. Unfortunately, we weren't able to make as good a use of all of the prisoners as I had anticipated, obviously, but as we see here, we do have some very nice Rogue Noble Knights, some Sword Maidens, which will eventually become Valkyries, and Huskarls. And so, with that, I will be ending this episode of here. And so, I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.